Hello, and welcome back to I Have Questions. I'm Alex.
I'm Sam.
And this week we are doing foreign action films. Again, if you're not here for our previous episode, these are foreign in relation to, or in rather, relative to not being American made or
English.
Proper
like
English.
British made. Yeah. Yeah, we say it's foreign action, but it's all martial arts films.
Yeah. I mean,
this is honestly why I picked Foreign Film February anyway, because
you wanted an excuse to watch.
I just wanted to watch martial arts films.
That's fair. I mean,
yeah. If you hadn't done that stipulation, we could have done martial arts all month.
Why are 89% of the movies Chinese?
Yeah.
Just fair. I mean, comedy could have just been all Jackie Chan films.
Yeah. I mean, just Chinese films in general.
That's true. Well, I mean, Stephen Chow.
Yeah.
Stephen Chow.
Why are you saying it like it's food? Anyway, all right. So this week we are doing Chocolate, the 2008 Thai film. Then we're doing Headshot, 2016.
I'm pretty sure it's 16.
2016. And then we're going to Ip Man, which what year is that movie?
I was watching it still in the States, and I think I was still in college.
Yeah, I
was the first
definitely in high school when this movie came out. But so good. All right. Mm-hmm. So let's get to it. So first, let's talk about Chocolate, directed by Pracha Pinkyu. Oh gosh,
it's Thai. It's Thai,
and it has a very, very well. She's very well known in Thailand. She's in a lot of martial arts films. Her name is Yanin. I cannot say that last name. It has way too many syllables in it. But nicknamed Jija. Yeah. So she plays Zen, who is an autistic child who does martial arts. And she learns it from literally watching people do kickboxing and watching Bruce Lee and Tony Jaa films. I guess we should start from the beginning.
Yeah. So
before Zen's conception.
So we have Masashi and Zin. Zine. Okay. Zine.
Yeah. They're literally one letter is the difference between the mother and the daughter's name. Yeah. But we don't speak Thai, so...
Yeah. So they're from two rival factions. Masashi is...
a Japanese gangster.
Yep. In Thailand still. He accidentally violated their territory. Apparently... Him and Zin end up hooking up somehow. Zin's boss finds out, and I guess she's his woman?
Yeah, he's like super jealous of them. I guess, not his woman, but like, I guess one of those guys who are like, oh, all of you are my women, but I like you the most kind of thing.
Zin and Masashi hook up. They end up having a kid together. Masashi basically, or rather they get caught while they're out. And it's like, don't ever come near her again. He ends up leaving. She gives birth.
And you forget, the gangster guy, his toe was cut off first.
Oh, he shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah, he shoots himself in his own foot.
Yeah.
As a symbolism or whatever. Yeah, it's weird.
As a reminder so he catches them, and as a reminder of the pain, he shoots himself in the foot.
Yes.
And we get this as a reference later on.
When Zin's toe gets cut off.
Yeah. Later. Because the first time he finds out that Zin has had a child, he goes over and it's like, losing a toe can change your life. You never walk quite right. Sometimes you just feel like it's still there, but it's not. It changes a lot of things. And then cuts off her toe in front of Zen when she's like 4 or 3. So yeah, and we see that limp throughout the rest of the movie. Mm-hmm. So she moves again, and this time it seems to have stuck this time. And we get a slight montage of the challenges of raising Zen.
Yeah, Zen, who is she's very high on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah.
So basically, she's going to have to be taken care of for the rest of her life.
Yeah, this isn't the accountant
Yeah, she's not high functioning. But she's savant in a way. She can pick up martial arts just by watching it.
Yeah.
And
She
they live above a kickboxing place. So she learns some of it from there and then the rest from watching movies and playing video games, apparently.
Apropos of walking,
Yeah.
after I can't remember what had happened, but Zin is carrying Zen or something, and they run across a boy who's being bullied.
Yeah.
And I guess Zin intercedes, and Moom ends up becoming friends with Zen, growing up together, essentially.
Yeah.
And Moom is just a regular kid. Of course, he's the
adorable little chubby kid.
Yeah.
So he gets cancer. I don't know what I'm talking about. They can't pay for the chemo. So at first, Moom is like, "Oh, we'll do street performance and try to get money that way." Obviously, they're not getting enough money for chemo because chemo is expensive.
Yep.
So Moom finds this pocketbook of Zin's that has not pocketbook, a little black notebook that has all the people who owed her money when she used to work for the old gangster.
Yep.
So Moon is like, "Oh, I'll just go shake them down for the money."
He's not even thinking that much. He only thinks of it in terms of,
he'll go ask them for money because he's a child and he doesn't understand that, like...
He doesn't know Zin's past.
Gangsters. Only gangsters have, like old worn notebooks of people who owe them money.
Yeah, if it's an entire book of people owing you money, you were either very generous, which in case you must have been really good with money and you would probably still have money, or you were doing illegal shit.
Yeah. So first he goes and he's like, "Oh, just, give me the money that you owe Zin." Of course, they're gangsters, so they're like, "No."
They're not even gangsters, they're just regular business owners.
Yeah. Well, he starts to shake them down because they're like, "No, we're not going to give you any money."
Yeah, they beat them up, then, kick them out.
Yeah.
The first time they get admonished for it, they go back home, lick their wounds, and Zen is just like, "Nope, I need the money."
Yeah, and she goes back.
She goes back by herself. It's like, keeps asking for the money.
And it's a really pathetic scene.
Yep.
Because it's just an autistic girl holding out her hand, being like, "Give me the money, give me the money." And I was like, oh, gosh. So eventually it gets back to the gangster. He's just called Number 8.
So it's the second. So the second group they shake down.
Yeah.
Same thing happens. They go in, ask for money, get kicked out, comes back.
Yeah. And then comes back and fights them.
Kicks ass, and this time, the guy who it was the first one. So the first one was like he was the electronics goods one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that goes to the old gangster, and it's just like, so this is the person. No, this is Zin's kid, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Start putting two together, and it's not until a little bit after the third one, that Zin's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely later because she's just like, "Why do I suddenly have money for chemotherapy?" And I'm like, "Oh, we ask some people."
Oh, it wasn't.
Well, she didn't. Yeah, he didn't tell her. He went up to the hospital to pick up the medicine, and
the nurse said.
The nurse is like, "Oh, somebody left something for you," and it was like one of those like
the candy
candy tubes with Zin's toe in it.
Yep.
And that's when Zin finds out, and like it's just like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And she writes a letter to Masashi, being like, "Hey, we need your help," but it gets intercepted by
the old gangsters.
Yeah, the old gangsters, and it's the transgendered women are just walking in, see Moon when he dropped off the letter, and then turn around and shoot him. It's like, what? So we lead to the climax, which is a very long climax.
Yeah, it's about 40 minutes.
It's pretty much half of the movie.
We spent about 8 minutes talking, or not 10 minutes talking about this, and then it's just like the rest of the movie is honestly like just fighting.
Yeah.
So
good fighting. Very, very good.
It's well choreographed. I have a problem with the editing. In that there seems to be a pause from where the action take was said and it's starting. Like it is only like maybe a frame, maybe two, that needs to be cut to make it more seamless. That I noticed that more on the rooftop than I did in the the dojo scene, I guess, or
Yeah.
the big tatami room they're in. Because this fight scene starts with Zin's like, are we going to end this, or what's going on here? And then a fight ends up happening, and then it just continues on because it starts in the diner, moves to the room. Masashi shows up eventually.
Yeah.
They fight the epileptic kid.
Yeah. No, the epileptic kid is later. All right, so
this is the same fight.
Let's break this down. Okay, so this is how a fight starts. Zin comes in and they drag Moom's body and be like, "Hey, do you want your kid?" Because they're like, "Oh, just give us the kid." And then Zin starts fighting, and Zin is she's almost useless. She gets a couple swings in, and then she's immediately captured. But she has cancer. She's going through chemo right now. You're pretty useless. I don't know why you started. You tried to start something in the first place. So Zen's fighting off the goons and doing very well, and then all of a sudden they bring in this kid who has epilepsy to the extreme. They call it epilepsy, but it's like it's like a weird epilepsy, Tourette's, autism jumble. And this kid is also a martial arts genius.
Yeah, I think it's
with an unpredictable pattern. So,
I mean, I like the fights in this, but this feels so trite.
It does. It's so ridiculous. It's just like, you have an autistic kid. I was just like, I will take your autistic kid and I will abuse an autistic and epileptic child.
Yeah, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I'd say it's really glorious, but it's like, I don't know.
The first time I watched it, I thought it was pretty cool, but after that, I was just like, this is kind of...
I don't know if there's a word beyond insensitive or just...
Yeah, it's extremely insensitive.
Or just, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was a simpler time 9 years ago.
Yeah, really?
Or 10 years ago.
2008?
10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, there's that fight. Of course, it looks like Zen's gonna lose, but then she
starts copying
him, realizes his pattern, and kicks his ass. And then more up the ante for the fight. Masashi shows up at this point.
Yeah.
And Zen and her burst of cancerous energy,
chemo power.
Yeah, her chemo power takes a swing, and they start fighting. Yeah. Masashi ends up fighting, and it ends up becoming a sword fight.
Yeah.
Because before it was just fists and sticks and stuff, but now it's a sword fight. Yep. Because Masashi comes in and they're like, okay, we gotta actually kill this guy. And Zin gets shot.
Yeah. I think it's funny because so all of the transgenders in his gang have guns. And yet no other of the group that's protecting you directly has guns on.
Yeah, nobody else has guns.
So it's just like, we could have ended this sooner. Because
that's the funny thing. When Masashi comes in, he just starts shooting all the people. Until he runs out of bullets, he just starts shooting the people who have...
I did enjoy that.
Who have swords, but it was 20 people with swords.
Yeah. So the fight keeps going on, and I hesitate to have us just expound upon it. Because it's really something to be experienced. And we can't, it's not like we can talk about blow by blow and like this. So
but it went on very long, and it got to a point of why are we still doing this? Because Zin was dead.
Yeah.
Masashi he was pretty much out for the count. But then it became a thing of, first he was running away from Zen, and then he was just like, nah, I'm gonna kill this girl. And it's another one of those things. It's just when your henchmen value their pride over their life.
Yeah.
Because it's the pride of we gotta beat up this little girl who kicked our asses, as opposed to maybe we should just cut our losses.
Yeah.
We did what we needed to do.
I feel
we just shot a woman who had cancer.
The end feels very it's like we had 12 ideas and we couldn't decide, and we're just let's put all of them in.
Yeah, I couldn't decide where to end the movie.
So it doesn't both for the ending and the number of fight scenes used. I would have appreciated it more if they had just done less fight scenes but been more elaborate with them. I mean, because don't wrong.
Cut them a little bit.
I know a lot of them can fight. Period. But that being said, this is this is still for a film.
Yeah.
So it's a ballet. It's even Jackie Chan acknowledges that. It's
yeah, it should still look good.
Like I said,
I believe this was his second or third. Was this his second film? Let me find out.
But yeah, so mom dies.
Yeah, mom dies. I mean, but that's a given. One, she has cancer. Two, she's in with the mob, and she's very weak. The weak ones always go first.
And Masashi, of course, takes her in like he does. And we actually had a brief throwback to this. Masashi has always been, since as a child, fascinated with broken things.
And I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Now she's broken. Like,
Yeah.
she's just autistic. Like,
Yeah.
she's still a human being, and she kicks anybody else's ass. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is his 5th film.
Yeah. So yeah. And then, roll credits. Final thoughts.
We can't even talk about that. I mean, it's a good movie. I do enjoy watching it, of course, for the martial arts scene. And that actress, she plays it very well. She plays an autistic child very well for being a 20-something-year-old fully functioning woman.
Yeah.
The story,
you're not here for the story.
You're not here for the story. It's very generic. It's like, basically, they're just like, how can we make it acceptable for fights to happen? And they're like, oh, gangsters. Okay.
Yeah. Any excuse.
Yeah.
So
it's also shot very dark. it's very green, and
the color corrections. I remember that too with my copy.
The movie's very green.
So when I owned this movie, apparently the website I bought it from was not a legitimate business place. I didn't find this out because I had bought tons of stuff from this place before. It's like I bought Cowboy Bebop, the full discography of it. I bought Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, the full set of it, and this came professionally packaged. The discs had prints on them, so that they look professionally made. I only started getting suspicious when I received chocolate, because the subtitle option for English in there didn't exist, or rather, it existed, but it was basically the guy who edits the subtitles complaining about his job. And
that could have been fun, though.
Not for the whole thing.
That's fun to watch.
But like for the first intro, I think it said like "fuck you, Mikey" or something. Yeah, no, I'm not even ad-libbing. Like that is almost literally what it said.
Oh my god!
So I ended up watching it. Of course, couldn't tell anything. Didn't change my opinion of the film, honestly. Because
I saw it was back when Netflix only shipped out DVDs.
Oh wow!
Well, actually, no. It was streaming, but it was extremely limited. This was before Verizon started throttling for that cash.
You call it a ransom. You can just call it a ransom.
Yeah, before Verizon ransomed them. So this was pretty early on, and I got the DVD for it, and that's how I watched it. But it was on a tiny, it was my college dorm TV, and I was like, this movie's really dark. And I was like, oh, maybe it's my TV. Like, okay, maybe it's my... But yeah, I actually watched it later, and I was like, oh, okay, no, this movie is that dark and green.
So I will say that, so it's choreographed well. You could honestly watch this. If you find a copy of this, someone gives it to you, and it doesn't have an English option, you're not going to care. It's like, honestly, fight choreography is great. My only problem is with editing, because there is a point, and if you're watching it for the rooftop fight scene against the urban gangsta hip hop people, because they're wearing, dragon patches and have cornrows on one side of their head. I'm pretty sure it's just one side, not even symmetrical. Mm-hmm. But
we're gangsters. We don't do symmetry.
This bitch. Anyway, there are some clear points where it looks like the edit is missing, or the edit should be missing 2 more frames. Like it looks like they're standing still and then someone sells action like that. It's very clear that it should be missing like a frame or 2 in those shots. And if you watch for it, you'll probably see it earlier in the film as well. It became a little bit jarring because it became more prevalent towards the end of the film. But other than that, fuck it, give it a watch.
Yeah, watch it.
So, we're going to take a brief break, and then we'll be back with Headshot. And we're back with Headshot, 2016 Indonesian film, directed by Kimo Stambul. I'm sure I'm butchering it.
Timo.
It's got a lot of consonants.
It's got a lot of consonants
next to each other that I'm not comfortable.
It's like, I don't want to ruin this.
I don't know. I'm butchering it anyway. Yeah. So, we start in a prison.
Yeah.
With Daddy Lee, the father from hell.
Yeah. Okay. The way they frame this in the film, it's starts like he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Because the guy, he's throwing pictures of children and be like, look at all these lives that you ruined. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
What kind of, all right, what kind of criminal we got locked in here? And he's like, you're going down. It's like he's being executed. Like he's going to be put in front of a firing squad.
Yeah.
Literally the next day. But of course he gets broken out because he's the bad guy of the film.
Mm-hmm.
He gets broken out by one of the prisoners, like grabs a knife. And there's a lot of gunshots, a lot of people being shot with semis.
If you've seen the 2-person gunfight in Smoking Aces in the elevator, this is basically like the same thing, but with like 15 people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of friendly fire.
Yeah,
that happens in this.
Do not move, or we will fire upon ourselves.
Yeah, basically. Manages to get the key to his cell. Actually, no, he shoots the bolt. So he breaks out. It's very interesting how he does it. He breaks everyone out of their cells and then like gives them the cops' guns, and it's just like, all right, guys, run. Like just go out and break out of jail. Knowing that they're not going to make it out of the door because what's in front of the door is a huge squad of gunmen. And then that starts another firefight, and then everybody just gets killed in that firefight.
Yep.
And then he's able to just walk out after that. Then we cut to a body washing up on the beach that we thought was
him,
but it wasn't. It was another person who was not seen previously in the film for some reason.
We open up on a doctor who, I guess, this says 2 months later. Our doctor, Eileen, is lording over him, like, she's got a doctor
she's basically like
coma crusher,
having a vigil. She's sleeping there with him. But here's the very interesting thing about it. How they told us that she was a doctor was her putting on her lab coat and walking through the hall. And then literally in the next scene, her lab coat is off. She's back in normal clothes and she's visiting this guy. Like, she doesn't do anything while she has her lab coat on. She doesn't talk to anyone. Nobody talks to her. She just walks down the hallway with putting her lab coat on. And the next scene, she's off duty.
Yeah.
And I was just like, they could have told that a little bit better. And I was just like, I understand it's like, oh, we don't want to have to tell you that she's a doctor. But you just did. You just literally said, hey, she's a doctor. Next scene.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been anything. It could have been just a tag that she was wearing. Someone could have like said, Dr. Eileen or something. Yeah. But it's just, that's the only information we get. You know, it is mentioned many times throughout the film verbally.
Yeah.
But that's the only real like visual clue, but it's very strange and I don't like it at all.
She exists to
damsel in distress.
Right? There we go. That's the term.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's coma crushing him because why the fuck? I'm like, does she need a dissertation? Right? Why the hell are you hanging out with this fucking vegetable? Right,
yeah, because he has, a head. He has a headshot, but we find out later it's just
there's still fragments in his head.
Yeah, there's still fragments in his head, but it's just like it kind of hit the side of his skull, so it's not like a medical phenomenon.
Yeah,
he just wasn't hit in his brain. Really. Like, well, it was grazed his brain, but it didn't actually like shoot him into his brain. So
they frame it almost like it's going to give him like super strength or something.
No, he just has amnesia
because he gets hit in the head a few times and then goes into like rage state.
Of course, he wakes up with amnesia because that's the easiest way to tell a story.
He unravels the mystery about 20 minutes in.
No, not really. It's very slow. The muscle memory of his, his muscle memory tends to come first. It's like
never mind
ingrained memory of language and math.
Never mind the 2 months you spent bedridden.
Yeah, it's very strange. We don't see him actually going through any kind of physical therapy or anything. Yeah.
Or how long it's been after he wakes up.
Yeah, there's this guy who picked him up, who he's staying with him after he leaves the hospital, who's kind of like the old man who's taking care of him. We don't spend any time with this man. I feel like there were scenes with him, but they were just cut.
Yeah.
Because there's a photo, like Eileen has this photo of her and our main character,
and the fisherman
Ishmael, who's named.
She was reading Moby Dick. We made sure to put extreme emphasis on Moby Dick by zooming into the book, and then she writes Ishmael. So I feel like
on his patient chart, because she's just like, I'll just make up a name for him.
Yeah, I feel like there are certain elements of this that definitely go out of their way to mimic tropes and ways to draw attention, but then they're delivered immediately. You're not giving the audience anything to be surprised by.
Yeah.
It's like, here's this, here's the reveal, like less than a few seconds later.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, well, I mean, I'll get to it when I tie it up.
Yeah. So he comes out of the coma, and we cut back to Lee. He's trying to get his deals going again.
Oh yeah.
There's another drug dealer. Well, there's somebody who because they both do drugs. So another drug dealer. It's like, look,
your stuff's shit.
Your guns are crap. Your stuff is watered down. It's useless. And I'll make a pretty good reputation for myself if I take you down. It's like, who? You and these men? And the men outside? And then Lee's crew rolls in.
Lee's crew of 5 people.
Slaughters.
Actually, not even 5.
Everyone. Yeah. And then while Lee had been eating, because, crave a meal after prison for half a day. Kills one of the dudes with the chopstick, and the younger of this shitty gang spills some information, like someone washed up on the beach a few months ago, rumor says. And
someone who's connected to you.
Yeah. He's like, are you fucking with me? It's like, no. It's like, and so...
Yeah, and we get this is one of the few things that it's told early, but you don't get the true meaning of the message till later. Because he looks at one of his henchmen, who's the only female, and she kind of like looks away in embarrassment.
Yeah.
And we've already gotten little snippets of him of when he got shot in the head, and she's in the shot shooting him. So she looks away in embarrassment, and at first we think it's just because she's embarrassed that she how could you fuck this up? He was right in front of you, kind of thing. But yeah, we get a little bit later reveal that she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was cute. I was like, hey, something that was revealed early on and not immediately explained.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the few threads they do a good job on.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's kind of figuring out, having these weird moments where he has recollection. Because obviously, you have experiences that jar your memory, but it's mostly fighting that jars his memory because he was raised to be a child soldier by Mr. Lee. So this is, I was telling Alex this, I was like, why do they always do this in these dangerous martial arts movies where the person has amnesia? They always go after the person while they have amnesia, and that ends up reminding them of what they can do and what they're capable of and what their past is. But it's just like, if you just left this person alone, that would have been it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they would have remembered it later on down the line when the information was useless. Yeah. Like, Lee could have moved on, raised some more different kids, and then moved to a different place.
So the shitty drug dealer got shot in the ear by Lee, and Lee's like, go investigate.
And he does, and he investigates it in the most brutish and unbelievable way ever. So he walks into the hospital, he's wearing a tank top, completely covered in tattoos, has clearly a gunshot wound on his ear. And he's like, you gotta tend to me, He's in the ER. There are people in the ER who are missing an eye.
Yeah.
Who are extremely sick. And he's like, yeah, me first. Can't you see I'm in pain? I got shot. He's like, you're talking a lot for somebody who's in pain.
Yeah. Also, the powder burn from the gun would have blasted a lot more of the side of his face. So he even starts slapping a police officer at one point, which is
like crazy. Like, dude, you have a gun on you.
Yeah. But anyway.
He eventually sees, by coincidence, Eileen, who is on duty, and then of course
starts questioning her.
He's like, oh, you saw this guy, and it immediately reveals on her face because she's the fucking damsel in distress and a useless character. So then he's like, oh, you know her, and then of course he's like, assault her, because that's what all the bad guys in this movie are rapists, in some kind of way.
Ishmael turns up on a dime out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, he was still in the hospital at that time. Or maybe he was just hanging around her, probably, because he has no friends.
You ever lift a guy by the throat?
Yeah, so, and this is the first real trigger of his kind of martial arts, because he kicks this guy's ass after he has like a weird berserker moment.
Yeah.
And that just proves that, like, oh,
but what's nuts is, like, after that, it honestly just cuts away to them like riding a motorcycle, and then
it cuts away
like,
as if, and it's just like maybe fill out a police report or something.
Yeah, how'd this guy not get arrested immediately afterwards?
Yeah, because he just gets away. And he's back with the gang right after this scene.
Yeah, and we know the cops aren't bought off later on.
Because they.
We'll,
this is a very small.
And we'll find out soon. They cut away. She's going back to Jakarta. She's inviting him, but it's like, I guess he just doesn't.
Yeah, because he's like, go to the hospital in Jakarta. They can actually they have the correct facilities to get the fragments out.
So she goes away by bus. Bus gets pulled over because they thought he got on the bus also, because they've been stalking him. And they proceed to murder everyone inside without asking any real questions.
Yeah, and this
it's like, where's Abdi? It's like, who the fuck is that?
I was like, nobody knows. And also, we didn't know that his name was Abdi at this point either. So we were also like, who the fuck is Abdi?
So they ended up taking Eileen. They ended up taking
But here's the funny thing, because this is when I started complaining about the henchmen. Because first they get on the bus, they're like, where's Abdi? And everyone's like, who the fuck are you talking about? And it's like, show us. Like, all you had to do was walk. It's like, the bus had maybe 20 seats on it.
Yeah, and you're heavily armed.
You just walked in, looked, and walked out. I guarantee you, nobody would have reported that. Like, those don't look like the kind of people who are like, justice, let's find out who stopped our bus with, AK-47s. And they shoot up the entire bus without getting any information. Yeah. It's only by accident that they don't shoot Eileen.
The one person who knows shit.
Yeah, the one person who knows shit doesn't get shot, and a child. So they're like, oh, well, we'll take both of them. Yeah. Because why not? And I was like, oh, they do have one brain cell to rub together.
Yeah. Our villains are cartoon villains, honestly. Like in the most snidely whiplash way, it's like, we kill people. We kill people for no reason, even if it's against our best interests.
Yeah, it's like, even if it hurts our job.
Yeah, no kidding.
Eileen had made half of a phone call to Ishmael, and of course, so he comes to check out what's going on. By that time, Eileen's gone. Everybody on the bus is dead.
The cleaners have arrived.
Yeah, to burn the bus. And then they're like, oh, let's fight this guy. This is when I was just like, do they not realize that that's Abdi? Like, these are the henchmen. Are they not connected to the other henchmen? Should be. It's very strange. Nobody's asking any questions. Nobody asks any questions.
Yeah. And then they're pour gasoline in there. It's like, so it's not necessarily the liquid that ignites usually first. It's usually the vapors. It's like the guys,
it smells covered in gasoline.
Yeah. And the vapors alone would, in a tight, enclosed, warm area.
Yeah, because they did close all the doors and windows at one point. Yeah. So.
But anyway, the old man.
He kicks their ass. It's a fun fight. Oh, yeah. And
he gets a gun pulled on him outside. The old man jumps him. Old man gets shot. It's like,
and that's the end of the old man. The old man who we haven't even had time to connect with.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I want to care.
Is this his Batman moment?
Yeah. So like, no. I want to care, but I don't. Yeah. And I can't.
Yeah. Naturally, the police show up.
And eventually. It's just like, where the fuck were you guys?
Yeah. And he gets taken in. It's like, we know exactly who you are. And they tell him about who he is. Like, they tell him the story. We get Lee's backstory at this point, the proper backstory.
Yeah, Lee's backstory and Ishmael's backstory. Yeah,
it's like, so you want to cut that bullshit and tell me what you're really after, what you're doing or whatever. And the lights get cut.
Yeah, the funny thing about this is, it's like, he's amnesiac. He actually doesn't remember anything about this. And the cops are like, he's freaking out because he's like, I need to save Eileen. That's the only thing he's thinking about is like coming to her. And they're just like, oh, stuff freaking out. Like, oh yeah, we know you're connected to this, all this, like, just tell us what we want to know. And he's just like, I literally do not know what you guys are talking about. This story that you're telling me, have no clue. I just know, okay, this guy has my girl, so I need to go get her. And it's like, oh, you wasted all of this time. Nobody asks any questions. Nobody asks the right questions in this movie.
And we're honestly not even given a real motivation for what exactly his betrayal was, because of course it's a betrayal of some kind.
Yeah, it's a betrayal of some kind that we're never told what it is, which...
Well, he just wanted out, because that's the usual...
Yeah, I think that's what he says, like, I tried to get out, I wanted to get out.
Yeah, it's the traditional one. Because in fairness, they're adults with poor skills, because, all they learned to do was kill. But they were raised as children to be assassins, essentially.
But I guess that kind of explains why they're so childish, because, we get another fight scene, and this is how when we really get to see how childish the henchmen are, because it's just like they're so comically unfazed by any damage done to them.
Yeah.
And they're just like fight, and they're laughing and they're having a good time and they're teasing him. When it's just like there's one point where he has a shotgun pointed like directly straight up into this guy's face, and he goes, "Oh, look what you got!" And it's like, what?
I think it was
And
like
he's like smiling, like, "Oh,
I think it was like, "Oh fuck, a good job, bro," or something.
yeah." He's just like, "Oh fuck, good job on you," and it's like, what?
Yeah.
So they took this whole like, oh, you guys were raised as child soldiers thing, kind of to the extreme of like they're just eternally childish in their mind. The two, the later henchmen are a little bit smarter and more mature, but the first two they send after them, they're trigger happy and their lines are ridiculous and they don't seem to feel any pain. And when they do feel pain, they just shrug it off and keep going.
I was considering them Tweedledee and Tweedledum since there was such a massive height difference between them.
Yeah. And it's funny though, because I didn't even notice it until there's one shot where they're behind a door and it's shadows, and I was like, damn, he was that short.
Yeah, it's like,
because before we'd only seen him either in close-ups or sitting in a car. Yeah. So I was like, oh my god, I can't believe
it's like that John Rhys Davies bit in Lord of the Rings, the fact that he's like the tallest person, but they just use low angles to make him seem short.
Yeah, it's like, why?
Yeah,
but
so he managed to get through. Boss man Lee makes a phone call to him. It's like, no, I remember everything. And then at this point, he's like, well, okay.
Yeah,
it's like, I got your woman or whatever, and he sends the location data.
Yeah, because
I know.
Let's make it fun.
Yeah. So as opposed to Chocolate, where we can't really talk about the fights in this, it's interesting because we actually do get dialogue in these fights compared to Chocolate.
Yeah, Chocolate, there's no real dialogue in the fights, but this one, I'm giving you my motivation of my fighting while I'm fighting. Yeah, and it's a little...
It's like going through Street Fighter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the Street Fighter story mode.
Yeah. It's like, you disgrace my family! It's like, my family's just trying to get by. What the fuck are you doing here? Yeah. Get out of my shop!
So we end up getting...
Hipster fight.
Oh, yeah, the hipster henchman. Because he's a man bun.
In the early scene, he has a man bun. Now he has a haircut, and it's just like this tiny poquito little.
Yeah, thing. It's like a weird thing sticking out. Like clearly, they either filmed this first, or he cut his hair during the film. But he's also wearing like his hipster jacket, and giant glasses.
You're my brother, man. We were raised together.
And he's telling him, like, you could have walked away. Like, you can get out now. Like, why are you still here? Yeah. Like, you could have just left. And he's like, I'm coming from a girl. And he's like, what?
Yeah. Well, Ishmael's just like, that's like, well, why are you still here? And it's like, well, I was raised by this bastard. It's kind of, basically,
it's this one thing of just like they don't really, because clearly they don't really have any other skills. They can't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
The fact that Ishmael got out and was like his amnesia gave an excuse of why he's so stupid. So people took care of him, but that wouldn't work for all 8 of those kids.
Yeah. But I'm still a bodyguard. It's like, considering how deadly these guys tend to be for the most part.
They could be bodyguards.
Bodyguards easily.
But I don't think they would take orders well from other people.
That's fair. For money, it doesn't matter. But anyway, this is a fun fight, if only because he's using a device which is banned in the U.S., which is the telescoping baton. Not the small. Actually, I think both versions of it are banned. The telescoping one and the telescoping one that has a spring on it, which will shatter bone, not just break it.
No.
It'll shatter bone.
Yeah, it crushed somebody's skull early on in the movie.
Fucking God.
I tried to figure out the name of this style that he uses to fight. It's a very interesting style. I think you were saying how you think it's similar to the Drunken Master style. What Ishmael's, the style that he uses to evade, will kind of block hits from hitting his vital points.
I remember Lee doing,
he has that claw.
Well, yeah, I thought that was part of Drunken Master. Or Tiger. So. Tiger style. Or
yeah, it's a tiger style.
Or whatever it was.
Whenever it's the claw one, I believe that's the tiger style.
I can't remember the name. The proper name. But for what Ishmael was using to block at some points, it looked like Wing Chun. But well, it's the I'm making gestures with my arms.
Yeah, you can't really see.
Can you see me making gestures with my arms?
He's doing it. He looks very ridiculous. Yeah, but it's a very interesting style, and it's the one thing I do like about this movie is when they get hit, except for even the guys who like shrugged off the pain, they were still like limping and like bruised and stuff like that. And even Ishmael, like when he does his like dodging of this baton later on, he's like his arms are just like he's just like, oh, it hurts. And the only thing really keeping him going is adrenaline at this point, because he even stops every once in a while because he's in so much pain from kind of softening those blows with his arms. So I do like that about the fighting. In a lot of like martial arts films today, they kind of
they're tanks.
Yeah, they're just tanks, and they just kind of take all the blows like it's nothing. Because it's like no, that still hurts. Like, yes, you protect your vital spots, but it's still gonna bruise. It still hurts you.
What is it? I appreciate the killing blow in this fight, just because like he hits the hipster child soldier in the face so hard.
Yeah,
in
so
the face.
It's just like, because he never takes off his glasses, which I was just like, I feel like that's a liability with those gigantic frames and lenses.
But like, so he starts staggering away, and he goes to die sitting upright on the beach.
Yeah,
because he is just like, and then we cut to his face finally, like a proper like hold shot on his face, and it's just like this massive bruise across it, and his eyes are just like, one of his eyes is just like basically not popped, but it's like completely blood red and dripping down.
It's really gross.
So yeah, that was hardcore. And of course now he runs into the one competent female, Rika, on the beach.
Literally the one competent female in this movie. And even then it's just like, I couldn't do this because of love. It's like, oh.
It's more exposition.
Yeah, honestly. We got a lot more exposition, and then their fight, and she's ruthless and badass. But when, it's a very much like, he has the upper hand, then she has the upper hand, and he has the upper hand, she has the upper hand. And then she's like ready to shoot him in the face. And then that's when we, get the flashback to her shooting him in the head. And then she turns the gun so obviously to the side.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, she did that on purpose. Yeah. Like she didn't actually want to shoot him because, they feel like they're siblings.
Yeah.
And, but Ishmael is so freaked out because there's still gunshots aiming in his direction, and he's like flailing like
throws
he's flailing and throws the knife, and it just like stabs her straight through the stomach. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I
what a way to go.
Yeah, I was laughing more than I was just like, oh, that's sad. It's like, no, that's...
It wasn't sad at all. It was ridiculous because he was like, she wasn't actually shooting at you, dude.
Yeah.
Like shit.
After the first shot, if you didn't feel it, it's because
he's like dancing around as if she's shooting him.
Yeah, so it was more.
That was pretty funny.
It was a nice comedy break.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was the intent, but it felt like a comedy break.
It was funny, but it was hilarious.
Yeah. So he comes in. So mourns her, whatever.
Yeah.
Goes to the bunker entrance, and we get a small shot of the tree where they all carve their names into.
Yeah.
Like little kids do. And it's like.
Oh, we forgot to mention the little girl who got. So the little girl who gets kidnapped, right? This girl's fucking smart. Every time Lee comes in the room, she immediately runs to the other side of the room. Because she's like, I don't know, but clearly you're the leader of this, and I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, I need to move. Yeah. But she also has moments in the movie where it's just like, you fucking pulled through. I love this. So there's so of course, Ishmael comes in, and it's just like, he's like, well, I'm already here. I'm coming for you. So they're like, okay, well, we need to evacuate because this guy's clearly killed all the top people. And some henchmen come in to get the girl. And then, there's a bit of a scuffle.
It's like, I got time to rape, right?
Yeah, and he's just like, rape. And it's like, you literally said, we need to hurry, we need to get out of here. His first line in this scene was, we need to hurry, we need to get out of here. And then after that, he's like, nah, I got time to rape. So he goes to attack her, and I don't know, the little girl grabs a plate and knocks it over his head, which like jars him for a little bit. But, because he wanted to rape, he put down his gun, and the little girl grabs it, and like she just knocks it around, and it cocks.
Yeah.
And he turns around like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What have I done? But then he's like, oh, you can't use it or whatever.
The little girl turns off the safety.
Yeah, and the scene is so funny because the doctor is like, oh, I can shoot you. She clearly has never touched a gun in her life.
Pull trigger, boom, boom.
She goes to pull a trigger. He's like, oh, you can't even pull it. Like, oh, you don't know how to work a gun. And the little girl, she looks at her, looks her in the eyes, smiles, and then flicks the safety off. And I just burst out laughing because I was like, this girl's a fucking boss. She smiles at the girl, hits the safety, and then looks over, and then the guy's like, oh.
Dead.
Like they figured it out.
And so we get a nice panicked Island we get a nice panicked Eileen mowing down randos.
Yeah, she's just like, as soon as she sees somebody come around the corner, she's just like spraying bullets.
Yeah,
because it's a semi. Is it an automatic or something?
I'm the last person.
Oh yeah.
So she kills 2 randos.
More than 2 randos.
And that
there's like 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. The other room.
Yeah, some guys were running around the corner. And she just shot them.
Yeah, and at this point, they finally intersect with Ishmael.
Abdi. Yeah.
And it's like, who are you? It's like, I'm leaving. It's like, I didn't know who you were. It's like, I was just gonna write my dissertation on you.
That's the thing. It's just like, she's just like, you're totally one of them. He's like, yeah, but I was trying to leave. Yeah. I'm trying to get out, and I'm trying to take you with me out. And she's still like, I don't know what to do. Clearly it's just like, a lot of shit is happening. I'm still coming off the adrenaline high of killing 4 people. Yeah. And the little girl's just like, all right, we just need to get the fuck out of here.
We finally get our Lee fight now.
It's a good fight too. I didn't expect Lee to be as good, as old as he's described. Yeah. It's a really, really good fight.
It's fun as fuck to watch. It's visceral. The shots are good.
They switch the upper hand quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's...
The back and forth in this movie for, like, the fights is great.
I do like it because it's... the way these guys were trained, you can tell they were trained to fight, but they were very sloppily trained to fight. And they stay sloppy. Yeah. Kind of fighting. Because, Ishmael, because its memories are coming to him, so he gets better and cleaner in his fight, but even as he's fighting Lee, it's like he starts out very sloppy, and then memories come back, and then he gets a little bit better and smoother. And I like that they do that in the film. I like that he's not like a savant who just like, oh, I don't remember anything, but I remember all my moves.
The fight gets ridiculous, and they end up outside.
Yeah,
and Lee gets pushed into the same tree we saw the initials carved into, and it basically impales him. And Lee's still, fighting that last fight, and it's like trying to pull.
Yeah, that was actually really tense. He was trying to pull him, like the sharpest point of the branch was at Ishmael's neck, and he was fighting because it's just like, how do either of you have any strength left after this? But this is kind of just like Lee's last ditch effort.
But now we have Eileen to come in.
Eileen comes in behind and
pull him away from that life.
She pulls him away, but here's the thing that they probably didn't realize when they were shooting it, but it comes out very obvious. She pushed him into it first because she like knocked into him to start pulling it, so she pushed him into the branch first. And then was pulling him away. I was like, oh.
We lost the first actor that way. We had to refilm the entire movie to do it.
It's just like, ooh, they should have cut that one little thing. Yeah. So maybe he started it at her pulling away, not her running and pushing him first.
So he finally succumbs and passes out, and they wake up in Jakarta.
And he is
in the hospital. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a hotel.
Yeah,
it's like what hospital has wallpaper and sconces on every little.
You've never been to Jakarta, you don't know.
Yeah. Oh, never mind the deadbolt on the inside of the door.
Yeah, you could see. Definitely not.
We can see where the budget ran out. But they roll the credits. Final thoughts.
It's a good movie. I would definitely recommend it. It's fun to watch. You get real tired of Eileen really quickly. If you're not a damsel in distress, like if you hate damsel in distress, as I do, I don't like useless characters in a film.
She exists to get pushed around, nearly raped, to overcome something slightly, and to help the main character when it seems like the main character has already done most of the work.
Yeah. She's useless. She's very pretty though. She's very, very pretty.
Poor writing for it. But once again, you're not here for the writing.
Yeah. And so this is what I was saying before. This film seems like somebody took a film class and learned about storytelling and was like, I can put these elements in my film. And then it didn't really do well in the beginning. Yeah. It's just like as they were editing, they figured out how to properly tell this story with the shots. Because in the beginning, the first let's give you information
Yeah.
so you can figure it out for yourself. It wasn't like, let's figure it out for ourselves. It is literally like, here is this direct information. It's not a clue. You are just showing us a picture of this.
The early sequencing is awful because it's just like prison escape. Okay, person washing up on shore. Is the same person?
Yeah, is it the same person? The problem is when Abdi / Ishmael washes up on the shore, this is the first time we've seen him in the film.
Yeah.
So
who the fuck
we were very confused because we thought it was Lee washing up because it was just like, okay, that build up, he just broke out of prison on an island. Okay, he probably washed on the shore. So, something's going to happen. But it was, in our eyes, a rando. And the problem about this film is the beginning of the film, we wouldn't have understood it had we not watched the trailer.
Yeah, that's all that helped us.
Yeah.
Honestly, for parts of this, it's like,
had we not watched the trailer and knew that this guy was the main character and that he actually got, he got shot in the head, we wouldn't have known anything for the first 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah, so sequencing is a bit weird. One problem I had, again, with cinematography, but not like it needs to have some frames removed, shaky cam. And honestly, it's like...
It has its purpose.
It has its purpose, but like, I think that's probably why I may have ended this movie with a headache, because it wasn't done with any intent. It wasn't done with enough intent. Because the people can fight. They can all fight, and the choreography is amazing.
Yeah, usually shaky cam is good if shaky cam is showing the view of someone who is unsteady.
Yeah.
But the problem was that it was shaky during the fights where neither of the people were unsteady. Like, they were genuinely fighting.
And it's like, I want to see the action. But the thing is, that was more jarring for it, is like, they're not cutting away. So we're not hiding shots by having shaky cam. We're essentially just like wasting it. So it's like, I feel like maybe they had one gimbal device like we got.
I think it's just, the thing is...
Gotta use it.
Yeah, they probably didn't only have one gimbal. Some of the shots were good because you could tell it was just a person like jumping through something as they film this. There's a lot of good transitions and a lot of good flips with the camera that were clearly like, if you've ever, like, I guess they show it kind of. You can find this on YouTube or Twitter or stuff where they show the behind the scenes of the person holding the camera and also being a fucking martial artist.
Yeah.
And like a free runner with the flips and jumps that they do to get these shots. So there were some shots that were very, very good and not shaky, but...
Yeah. So like kicking out the back of the bus window.
Yeah.
Because that transition was really good.
Yeah. It's the camera jumped with him as he jumped out of the window. And that was a really, really good shot. We really like that.
So cinematography aside, though, problems aside, and weird structural issues, it's still a fun, fighty film.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not here for the story. We can't all be Legend of Drunken Master. Which, in fairness, I'm not here for the story either, but it's at least comedy gold.
Yeah, we just kind of saw this trailer and we were just like, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
So,
and it was fun. Yeah. I got what I thought I was going to get out of it.
Same, honestly. I wasn't disappointed.
I wasn't expecting story, to be completely honest. A lot of the martial arts films, I'm just like, I don't really expect story.
But at least with like Stephen Chow, it's like, I know I'm going to have fun laughing at it half the time while we get awesome action scenes. But that said, we're going to take a brief break, and then we'll come back with...
The reason we did this movie.
I've seen this movie so many times. Ip Man.
Ip Man.
And we're back with Ip Man 2008. The story of... the man who would go on to train Bruce Lee. Which isn't fair, because he's had quite a life on his own. It's hard to really go into it. So he's a master of Wing Chun, which just basically, I guess, translates into punching a man into the ground. This takes place during the Sino-Japanese War, so basically when Japan was occupying China.
It's also a good... it's also Wing Chun. It's also one of those martial arts that's focusing more on softening blows than like giving blows. Like, yes, there's a lot of like, the like 60 hits in like 1 second, but there's also a lot of like moving people, like other hits out of the way, like moving people's arms and legs out of the way and stuff like that. It's it's a kind of, I wouldn't say like easy style. It's more a fluid style. There we go.
Yeah.
It's focused more on fluidity than power.
Yeah.
Which makes it very beautiful to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's looks very good on screen.
Yeah. So, final thoughts.
Yeah. So this is the biographical martial arts film, and take that with a grain of salt.
Well, as any biopic tends to be.
Biographical film, especially when it gets to the sequel.
And we fight our cartoonish Japanese villains. And don't get me wrong, Japanese did some pretty atrocious shit.
Yeah.
Then and a few decades later.
Yeah.
But anyway, so before we actually get to the occupation, we basically just have a day in the life kind of thing. He's running his dojo. People randomly come to challenge him. A gang of thugs.
Because he's the best fighter. And we also get a very interesting dynamic between him and his wife.
Ooh, yeah.
It's adorable. Honestly, I find it very cute. She's so not into the martial arts thing. Because I guess if you look at it from his point of view, this is his life's work.
Yeah.
And he gets to do it all the time. And I think he invests, like his brother... He's investing money, and that's how he's making so much money.
Yeah.
He's also, like, by being a grandmaster at this period in time, like, they just make a lot of money from people being in their schools, but he doesn't have any students. Mm-hmm. So his brother, I believe it's his brother.
Pretty sure it is as well.
Yeah. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
And, like, his man is giving him money for his business, and in return, like, getting money from those investments. But from how she sees it, people are constantly coming into her house, trying to fight her husband, and it's taking away time from his son and her, their son, and taking time spending together. So, and later on in the film, she does say, like, I'm sorry, I was like.
Which is so kind of
so mean about it. Like, this is what you like. This is what you love doing. But then he's just like, no, the things I love are here with you. Like, I don't care about martial arts as much as I care about my family. Yeah. He's a very good husband. He's just a guy.
I feel like the way to get started towards the end is just like so kind of like it's like we're just trying to forgive him for his previous sins, essentially.
Yeah. The thing is, like, he's in the movie, he's not a bad guy.
He's characterized as honestly very passive and kind of
he's a very passive guy. He likes doing martial arts. He likes, using Wing Chun, but he doesn't particularly like fighting. He doesn't do a lot of public fighting unless someone asks, unless someone pushes him to it. Yeah. The first couple fights are behind closed doors. They're in his house or, so just on his property, but he doesn't have a lot of people watching. But the problem is there's people who are like looking over his wall and
climbing
trees and seeing him fight and stuff. And he tries to keep this very private. Like the one guy who comes for a fight and it's just like, okay, after he loses, like, can you keep this between us? He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah. But the person who saw it over the wall is like, I will shout to the to the heavens.
It's like, your school lost respect.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, your school lost respect and all that stuff. And it's just like, a lot of the fights in this movie is like until we get towards the end, the fights really aren't his choice.
Yeah.
They're other people kind of pushing him into fighting.
It's largely reactionary, more often than not.
Yeah.
So before the occupation, another scene the scene right before leading up to it, honest, you know what? Really don't even need it.
Don't need the scene?
Because the earlier setup is really just to establish the type of character he is.
Yeah.
And how his interactions with fighting is like.
Yeah. And all of his fighting is kind of, in the beginning, his fightings are teaching moments. Yeah. Like it's him sparring with other masters, and then other people are coming because they want to learn from him. So they fight him. And then there's, the fight against the gangsters, which is him kind of getting serious. Yeah. And it's a really good fight.
It's like, whatever you do, don't break my wife's faces.
Yeah, and he starts breaking stuff in the way. And it's adorable. You should just enjoy this scene for yourself. Yeah. It's a very adorable scene with his son.
After this, we actually get a transition that mentions...
To the occupation. It's very well done, too.
Yeah, it's written words on the thing. The transition ends up going out pretty well, and basically it's like life under occupation. Things are hard. They're not doing well.
They don't pull any punches with this. It looks like it's a tearjerker. The transition,
conscripted labor, essentially to a point. It's like he basically can't hold the school together, so he ends up having to do things like getting coal or something.
Yeah,
he ends up breaking up coal.
So of course, Imman is like he's the best fighter in this town, so he's very respected by the community. So even after the occupation, when people see him, they're still like, they give him priority for things because he's a respected teacher in the community. So he gets pulled on to, one of those, worker trucks. They're like, hey, we need workers for a day. Come work. Who can do it? And the guy sees Imman. He's just like, oh, Sifu, like, come work. So he ends up working in the coal mines. Once again, I like this. He's never it's never a shock, like a class shock. Like when someone goes from being very wealthy to being very poor and they just can't handle it. He takes everything in stride very much. Like he just, he gets to work and he works alongside people who were servers or students of him. And it's, he doesn't begrudge anybody. He doesn't begrudge his lot in life. He just saved his little half of a sweet potato for his family and, goes along with working.
Just trying to get by. Or anything else.
And then we get introduced finally to our real bad guys.
Yeah.
The Japanese.
At one point, we basically find them fighting one of the other teachers, essentially. Is basically Win Rice.
Yeah, so the general is very obsessed with martial arts.
Yeah.
And every day, picks up people to go, because this town is known for having a lot of martial artists. So you just pick up people every day from the coal mines or from wherever to fight the other, I guess, people at his dojo.
Yeah.
And one of the people who fight every day is the Sifu from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
The man who just had a friendly spar with him at the beginning of the movie. And if you win the fight, you get rice.
Yeah.
So he just does this to supply rice for his family.
We end up coming back to this later on because there's a few more character transitions and things and development in between. Yeah. They're important, yes, but I don't want to spoil that much.
Yeah, there's a couple stories going on, which I do like that.
There's the cotton mill also.
Yeah, his brother who the businessman, he runs a cotton mill, and then there's the people who he's employing. He can't really afford to run this, but he's doing this to keep these people working, kind of. And it's a very sweet little thing. Yeah. And they're being bullied,
of course,
by some other martial artists who became bandits, pretty much.
They were the same people who fought Ip Man in the earlier position of the movie.
And the reason why they come back to fight this cotton plant is because someone uses the starting form for Wing Chun, and he's like, okay, well, like, I hate Wing. He has like flashbacks to getting his ass kicked. So, then he comes back to fight. Yeah. So there's that story. And then there's the story of the police officer. Well, he was previously the police officer, but now he's the translator for the Japanese military. And at first he's kind of like the bad guy, but then we realize when he goes home, he has there's a family of 8 in that house. And he's just like, I'm just doing this because I got to eat. Like, I don't want to do this, but we got to put rice on the table. Yeah. And you get Ip Man's story, which is the Japanese general wants him to train his men. And he's like, nah.
So we come back again to the, pick your fighter thing or whatever for Rice. The psycho assistant to the general shoots the other Sifu.
Yeah, because he says he wants to, because he's feeling himself, so he wants to fight against 3 people. But he loses, and he goes to take the rice that he had won in the previous fight, and then the fucking trigger happy guy just shoots him. And then that's what Ip Man sees, and then Ip Man is pissed, and we get one of the best fights in the movie where he gets like 10 guys.
It's like one. It's like one. It's like 10.
He's just like, how many you got? Just bring them all up here, kind of.
Yeah. And you ever seen a man get punched into dirt?
Yeah, it's very much like, ooh, he's dead. Ooh, he's not going to walk again. Ooh, that arm's never going to be usable.
So Sammo Hung did the fight choreography for this, apparently. Sammo Hung was a long time as a martial artist as well. But he also did a lot of stuff with Jackie Chan,
Yes.
so you might see some of that to it. But we're not. But there's more of a dancing rhythm to the way Jackie Chan stuff is.
Wing Chun also, because Wing Chun is kind of a dance anyway. So there's
But-
not a lot of, there's still cuts in
Mhm.
between shots, but there's not as many as you would see in normal today's like martial arts movies. They still let you enjoy the moves
Mhm.
that is done, and giving focus to key moves, and like feet when it's like he's blocking a hit that could have
Yeah.
like destroyed him.
So
it's really well shot.
Oh yeah. So after this is done, rather than take all the, because he wins, he doesn't take all the rice. He just takes the bag
With the blood on it.
that his friend fell into and brings it to his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like tearjerker scenes in this. Like the wife gets sick at one point. The big fight that's basically like the pride of this town versus the Japanese army, and that's a lie. And basically starts a rebellion in this town. And
well, they try to conscript him. I guess I think this is the point where they try to conscript him to train his men. And the officer is playing with his son, pretending that, he's with his actual gun. And this is where Ip Man's just like, fuck are you doing? Like, pointing your actual gun at my child.
Yeah. Because the kids, every day, they do, like, they get, like, little sticks, and they like pretend like they're shooting each other. Just, like, bang, bang, outside. So we get that early on. And then we get it again. He's doing the bang, bang, bang with his friend. And then it's the actual Japanese guy with a real gun. And then, like, Ip Man is already angry. Like, I like it because he's a very, like, unbothered, keep your cool in all situations guy. But when he loses control, it's like he kicks ass. And it's really good.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying.
There's the subplot of the bandits as well. And honestly, it kind of detracts a little bit. Because they do... So... Ip Man definitely trains the people at the cotton plant or cotton factory or whatever, and there was that fight with the bandits.
Yeah, with the bandits, but it kind of, I do think it is very necessary because the story, without the story from the cotton factory, it's just Ip Man's story. Him, growing stronger and getting courage and like kind of just like having a will to move and keep going and feeling like you can. Defend yourself, because it's just Ip Man for that, without the people at the cotton factory. When he starts training the people at the cotton factory, then they feel stronger and they're more confident in working, and it's kind of a lift up for them, because it's just like it's occupied China right now. So it's just like they don't really, you're fighting for bags of rice and that's all you have, so they don't really have kind of a reason to keep going except to just keep feeding your family. But this feeling of being able to fight back, I think that kind of pushes the energy for the final fight of the movie. So, like, the people are already charged up and ready to fight.
I like that assessment.
Actually. At the end of it, that's just what I felt about it. Because when the revolt happens, just people just go crazy, and and martial arts kind of comes back, because it's like before. These people could live off of martial arts. People in the school and the students could live off of martial arts, and people wanted to be trained and stuff instead of just going with their job. And then after that, during the occupation, it was just working, tried to feed your family. Martial arts doesn't put food on the table kind of thing. And then it became like, we can still use this. We can still defend ourselves. Like, the pride of the town isn't completely destroyed yet.
Yeah. So the general ends up like, gotta fight me.
He's like, yeah, final boss, fight me.
Yeah. Again, amazing fight. Can't really describe it because what are we gonna do? Just watch it.
I mean, it's on Netflix.
He gets shot, and then Ip Man gets shot.
Yeah, Ip Man gets shot, and that kind of pushes the town to revolt, because they're super angry, because they're like, he just won.
Yeah.
Like, he won, you guys lost. Like, Chinese to triumphed, and then they kind of turn on the soldiers, and it ends up being this huge revolt. And in that moment, they slip out because the brother was supposed to take the wife and son out of town before this fight happened, because he was like, Ip Man was like, I don't think I'm going to make it out alive, and I don't want my wife to see.
Yeah.
So please get her out of town. But she forces the brother to drive back so she can watch the fight. So she ends up watching her husband get shot, and she thinks he's dead, but he's alive, and they escape to Hong Kong, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is where the second movie is.
Yep. So, final thoughts.
God, I love this movie.
Yeah, it's.
I can watch this. I've watched this movie so many times, and I've even like on the Netflix here. It's in Japanese. Like it doesn't have any English subtitles, but I just watch it in
Still fucking
Japanese.
watch it.
I just watch it in Japanese.
It's
I don't
fun.
care. It's still good. I know the whole script by now. This movie came out when I was graduating high school, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I just watched it all the time. It's so good.
I was finishing my first round of college.
Yeah. What a fun little age difference we have.
Yeah. Anyway, but
definitely watch this movie. I would say if you like it, which I mean, why wouldn't you? Do watch the second one. I cannot vouch for the third one because I've never seen it. The second one is the fights are still amazing. The story is kind of but the fights are really good.
Yeah. It is a softer image of an occupied China, but it does a good job of humanizing the experiences that people can live under occupation of any foreign power on there. That being said, goddamn, yeah, it's like every country has its history that is shitty.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
I mean, yeah, because you got to look at it as about this. No matter how shitty governments can be, like there are still just normal people who are like, I'm just trying to live my life day to day kind of thing, and they just show you that side of just like these are just people who were that before the occupation they were doing very well in life and they were happy and this wasn't a town like until the bandits came in and the gangsters came in. It was a pretty happy town. Yeah.
The fight choreography is amazing. Camera cinematography in general is actually pretty spot on,
and the story's good.
And
which is very rare to find when you're watching a martial arts movie.
Very rare.
Yeah, and Donnie Yen's just amazing. He's a really great actor, and he's a really great martial artist.
I love Donnie Yen. Just fucking watch it.
Yeah.
So join us next week.
Foreign dramas. We'll think of a fun title.
As opposed to foreign fights.
Foreign fights. Well, I mean, that's what this movie was.
That's fair.
Foreign fights.
Got to keep up that alliteration.
I love alliteration. This is like, but yeah, we're going to be doing dramas, and it's just like, can we slip in another Chinese film? Can we do it?
No.
Just one more.
And this is China, Hong Kong. That's cutting it.
All right, yeah.
But that being said, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Wherever the hell you may be, take care.
Goodbye.